Welcome back, Yappers, to another episode of Binge, Yap, Repeat. Shalini and I have made a big mistake.
Womp womp.
We have released 2 episodes on this fine Monday.
Our big mistake was severely overcommitting to the amount of TV we could watch in 1 week.
Oh, so much TV.
But if there's one thing we do well, it's binge and TV.
Hell yeah. They should call this show Binge Mistake. Am I right?
No.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I tried. Okay, Big Mistakes is an American crime comedy television series for Netflix created by Dan Levy and Rachel Sennett. The series premiered on Netflix on April 9th, 2026, and stars Dan Levy as Nicky, a pastor for a local church, and Taylor Ortega as Morgan, Nicky's sister, who is a public school teacher. Nicky and Morgan find themselves entrenched in the crime world through a series of unfortunate events and comedic mishaps. Other notable characters involve Linda, their mother, who is running for mayor, Natalie, their sister, who is helping their mom with the campaign, and Max, Morgan's fiance. All right, Shalini, take it away. What did you think?
You know what? I really liked it. I must admit, I don't know how you ended up feeling by the end of the show, but I actually loved it.
You say that for every show. You're always like, I really liked it.
Okay, well, I guess for this one, I want to emphasize that because I went in thinking I would dislike it because of what you said about the beginning of the show. Yeah, because
Okay,
I know
fair.
you didn't love it at the beginning.
Okay, yeah. So I started watching the show a little bit before Shalini, and I felt like there was a lot of yelling and there was a lot of talking over each other and not really listening. And then I also felt like which I think is like the comedic purpose. I think it's just like not where my funny bone is. And then the other thing that I noticed is that it felt like things are kind of happening unnecessarily. It's like the first 3 episodes or so were about this Nona's necklace just like not being accessible for some reason or another. And I was like, why are they taking so long to put this necklace on? It's giving fold in the cheese. And then why is it taking so long to get this necklace off? Like, how can he be? I don't know. It just felt like
Like
what?
contrived
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, if only we had enough time to get this necklace off, then we could have avoided all of this. And then I just like wasn't bought in that the fact that he wasn't able to get the necklace off was the reason that he had to exhume his Nona from, yeah, it was just
Yeah,
too much.
I agree with that. Do you also think that they kind of settled into a good situation and pace of the show, or did you think that continued?
Yeah, I think by the end, I'm glad the focus went away from the necklace
Mm-hmm.
after some time. And then like when it felt like the show really started in episode 4 or so. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it's like part of this like crime thing and like now they're entrenched in it. But then also like, yeah, I guess they do have to keep picking up the phone because they know where they live. And so like they live in fear and they kind of like have to do this stuff. So then I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
guess it kind of makes sense. And then by the end, I didn't mind the yelling so much, but it was
Mm.
just a lot of yelling in the beginning.
I noticed in our previous episode, you mentioned that one thing you don't like is people talking over each other. Was that inspired by watching this show?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yes, correct.
Very nice. Yeah, I agree with you that I think the show really picked up in episode 4. That was the cattle auction episode, right? I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
Um, oh no, that was episode 5. Okay, episode 4 was when they break Andre out of prison.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, which was also a good episode. Yeah, but I totally agree with you. I think after the necklace debacle was handled, that's when the show really took off.
Yeah. It was just unfortunate that it took 3 episodes to get there.
out of 8 very
Yeah.
short episodes.
Yeah, like, they could have easily made this, like, a 6-episode, like, miniseries or something like that, but it felt like they really drew out the first couple episodes to get to 8.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went in thinking I would dislike it, and I actually ended up loving it. Like, I don't know what my rating's gonna be. I guess we'll see after this, but I think there's a 5 in there somewhere.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So I just thought it was hilarious, and I'm obsessed with Dan Levy, and I just eat up every character he plays. He's so lovable, but also, like, kind of selfish, but also kind of selfless. Just this perfect character. So,
Okay, question about that because Dan has done interviews where he says that this character that he plays, Nicky, is the antithesis to who he played in Schitt's Creek. I forget his name. David? Yeah, David. David?
Ew, David.
Ew, David. So yeah, he says that Nicky and David are complete opposites.
Mm.
What do you think
Um,
about that?
I can see what he means by that, in that I think David is kind of driven by selfish motives most of the time, and he doesn't want to do the hard work of figuring things out himself. He just kind of wants things handed to him. Versus Nicky, I think, enjoys being a pastor, is what's the correct term? Reverend?
I think
Um,
Pastor, yeah.
pastor, and just like loves responsibility and taking care of things. And so in that sense, I see where he's coming from, but I do think there's a very strong through line between these two characters, and it's just their
It's
reactions to
Dan.
things. And yeah, it's Dan. Just his dramatics around everything, and yeah, just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think while Dan may say that they are antithesis, I feel like the affectation that Dan brings to the character is very much uniquely the same, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, I think there are definitely a lot of squabbles between Morgan and Nicky where I was like, this is just Alexis and David. Um, okay, I do have a couple questions for you. Uh, Why do you think they made Nicky adopted? So in the show, there's 3 siblings. There's Nicky, who is the oldest, and then we find out that he's adopted. And then there's Morgan and Natalie. And it seems that Morgan and Natalie are biological siblings, but they're like 8 years apart, something like that. So yeah, why do you
Both
think they made
accidents.
Nicky? Yeah, both accidents, as Linda revealed in the second to last episode.
That's a great question. I had 2 theories. One is that Dan Levy does not look Italian, and the rest of them do look Italian, and so they needed to make it a little bit more believable that he was a part of the family. That's a very, very loose theory. Um,
Yeah, like they
the
all have dark
second
black hair.
they do. Okay, I don't know about that one. And then the second one is that it was just for that one scene between Linda and her youngest daughter, Natalie, where she was explaining like why she never got things her way. And the first example was that she couldn't have kids, so then they adopted Nicky. And then the second example was that they didn't want any more kids, but then along came Morgan. And then they still didn't want kids, but then along came Natalie. So I think it was maybe just to build that backstory for her about how she's always been a woman who has been living like a life that she didn't necessarily want.
Or a woman who gets things by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that.
Because she kind of got the mayoral race by accident.
That is true.
Or did she?
Or was it an accident?
Or was it an accident? Okay, my second question for you. Okay, well, back on the Nicky adoption thing. I think I was a little confused by that just because I felt like it felt like Nicky and Morgan were so tight. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if that's like they're so tight with each other, and then like Natalie is left behind because she's so much younger than the other two, and like that's why she's not as close to them.
Mhm.
But then it was like, oh, but Nikki's adopted, and then it was like, oh, but why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we were like, I think we were supposed to think that Nicky and Morgan actually were not close and were quite estranged before this show started, because they brought that up a few times, that they didn't really have a relationship before episode 1 of this show.
Yeah, that's true. And then when they were super coked out, they were kind of talking to each other about how she felt abandoned by him. And then he was like, it's not my fault if the way that you communicate to someone to check up on you is to say, leave me alone.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Cool. So not really
Yeah.
like any hard-hitting theories, but maybe it is just the Italian thing.
Yeah, either the Italian, like, not looking Italian thing, which is a very paper thin theory, or Linda's backstory.
Okay. Okay, my second question, we started talking a little bit about it already, Linda in the mayoral race. Okay, so she's spending this entire time going against this guy, Tom Donaldson, and then in the end, Tom Donaldson, like, there's a tie, and then Tom Donaldson and Linda are supposed to play rock, paper, scissors to decide who the mayor will be.
So silly.
And then of the day that, like, the morning of the day that they were supposed to play rock, paper, scissors, Tom Donaldson calls in and concedes. Why? Like, why would he do that?
I thought maybe, is it Annette? Is that
Mhm.
Max's mom? I thought maybe Annette threatened him or something because she's a part of the mob.
Yeah, maybe she, like, sent some lackeys his way to be
Yeah.
like, "Drop out of the race."
Yeah, I think so, because I think she didn't want to lose whoever she backed, or like she didn't want whoever she backed to lose the election, and she had already switched over to supporting Linda, so she's like, all right, gotta make sure Linda wins, so I'll do whatever it takes.
But then the other question is, like, why did she then switch over to support Linda in the first place when that picture of Tom Donaldson came out? Is it because she's, like, still wanted to associate herself with being a strong, upstanding member of the community, and that's why she switched over?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think she wanted to be associated with someone who had been caught with sex workers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Okay, question. If you were to tie with someone in a mayoral race, what would be your game of choice?
Any game? Okay, either bananagrams or Scrabble. I think some sort of word game. Yeah, because I crush at those.
Whoa, okay. So if you were to go against someone like Tom Donaldson, it would be Bananagrams or Scrabble. Okay, that's fair. What about connections?
Sometimes I feel like for connections, it's so hit or miss for me. Either I crush it or I'm like, I have no idea what any of these 16 words are.
Okay, that's
Someone
fair.
help. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like for me it would be time to solve a Monday crossword.
Yeah. That's a good
I
one.
feel like I could crush Tom Donaldson in that.
Nice.
Fun fact, I will be playing in the American Crossword Puzzle Tournament later today, virtually.
Yay! Good luck, Ruchi and
Yay.
Izzy.
Yay. Also, just like, how do
Oh.
you compare this show to Schitt's Creek in general? So, like, this
Mm.
show is also about a dysfunctional-ish family, very interesting family dynamics, with adult siblings regressing into their childhood selves when they're with each other. So, how do you feel like the two families compare?
Great question. I think the biggest difference is that the parents in Schitt's Creek really truly love each other, and the parents in this show are divorced, and really it seems like no love lost between them.
Mhm.
Um I think in terms of sibling dynamics, it's pretty similar, I agree. Um, just seeing how they interact with each other. It's just like such sibling energy. Especially I felt that at the club when they were doing cocaine with each other and they're having that conversation and they're just casually unpacking their entire childhood with each other, surrounded by these Brazilian cartel people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is such sibling energy right here. Just like fighting about your childhood in front of randos. And so, yeah, a lot of similarities. I think I like Schitt's Creek as a calming background show that just, like,
Mm,
has an uplifting ending every time. Kind of like, The Office or Gilmore Girls, or just, like, a very comfortable, sitcom, versus this show was very dramatic and similarly funny, but just, like, definitely
chaotic.
packaged in a different way. Yeah, very chaotic.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about Linda and her husband, ex-husband, having no love lost. w- uh, what did you think about her saying, "Oh, like I was in love with your dad until we had a child"? Isn't that what she
Mm.
said?
Yeah, it was that when she was, talking to Natalie on the stoop.
I think so, yeah. She was like, "I was in love with your dad for so many years until we had kids."
Mm, yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine how hard it is to keep up a marriage when there's a child involved. Sounds hard. I think I could see it happen where I don't know if this is what happened between them, but where once a kid is introduced, it like, both parents don't feel like they're working as a team anymore, and maybe Linda felt like it was just her and the kid, and her husband wasn't really helping, or, like, the husband just felt like the kid was taking so much away from his life or something.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened. That was kinda my interpretation.
Okay. I thought that was interesting that she said that because I was like, well, their first kid was adopted, which is not like an easy process by any means. So I guess it was interesting that like it didn't just happen to them, you know what I mean? Like they
Mm,
obviously had to go through this process together to like get Nicky and adopt Nicky.
yeah, it
So
was a
I
very
was
intentional choice to get
Yes,
Nicky.
exactly. So I was a little bit confused by that phrase. And then the second thing, speaking of kids, is what I was confused about is Morgan is a public school teacher, which I feel like that fact was very soon forgotten near the end because she goes to a baby shower and then there's a lot of women there, presumably high school friends, I guess, who are like, "Oh my god, Morgan, you should absolutely have kids. You would love it. You would be so good at it." I'm like, "This girl's a public school teacher. She deals with kids like way more often than any of you." So like
Yeah.
I think she would know out of everyone at that party if she wants kids or not.
Yeah, seriously. Also, can we not tell women what they should be doing with their bodies and their lives? Come on, it's 2026.
Yeah.
Ugh, but yeah, that's such a good point. Like, she would know. Why are you mansplaining? Why are you girlsplaining what having kids is like? Like, she's around kids left, right, and center.
Yeah, like she would know out of everyone. And then similarly, I feel like Morgan also forgot that she was a public school teacher because she was like, "Oh, I can't have kids. Like I just
Yeah.
can't." And then like left. And then Max was like, "You're lying?"
Oh yeah, that's so random. That's so random and hilarious that she just lied.
Yeah.
Like, that was so unnecessary. I guess it was just to shut them up because they were being so annoying. Yeah.
They were being quite annoying. And yeah, I guess Morgan already has past insecurities to deal with as we see in the show.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh yeah, fun fact about Max. Have you seen him in any shows before?
I thought I did recognize him, and then I actually looked him up, but I didn't look through his full filmography, but I saw that he got famous because he was a TikTok influencer. So I was like, "Oh, maybe I've just seen his TikToks."
He was in the show Adults, which we did record an episode. Jing and I recorded an episode on Adults and then never actually published it.
Oh, okay. I think I only watched like half an episode of that show.
I think he was
I
probably
think
in
so.
that half an episode.
All right, was he a main character, I guess?
So the show's about like four housemates who live in Queens and then he plays one of the housemates' boyfriends.
Was it the boyfriend of the Indian girl?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
his name is
okay.
Paul Baker in that show.
Right. Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, wait a minute." He looks familiar.
Oh.
Yeah, his name is Jack. Innanen. Innanen.
Mm,
Mhm. Okay, I have now questions about the ending for you, just like theorizing.
okay.
If this series were to end here, what do you think is next for Morgan, Nicky, and the family?
Um, I think Morgan and Nicky continue to be a part of this crime mob, but now it's not because they want to, it's because their mother-in-law slash what is she to Nicky? In-law? No.
Boss.
Anyway, boss. Okay, yeah. Because this lady is like holding it over their heads. And I do think Morgan and Max will get married, even though I don't think they should be together.
Yeah.
uh yeah.
So I realized that at the end, so they go to Miami. There's like this big massacre that happens in Miami where both the Brazilians and the Russians are get killed, and the only ones surviving are Morgan and Nicky. And it turns out that Nicky survives only because there are 5 minutes unaccounted for with him and the Brazilian mobster's son in the bathroom. And the only reason Morgan survives is because she's engaged to Max, who
So for
happens to
two
be
very different reasons.
very different reasons. Yeah. So, which is kind of scary that, like, whoa, the only reason Nicky is alive is because of those 5 minutes in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. Also, when they were questioning him about what they talked about, wait, did the son die in the room, or was he not there?
Okay, that's what I was confused about because I thought that he did die. But
Okay, yeah,
then,
I did too, and I was like, why is he protecting him still? Like, just say
yeah,
he's gay. Like, what? Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It
But
was
then
kind
my
of
sister thought
confusing.
he didn't die, and so she was like, I think he's still protecting him. But I would say, I think, I don't know. I don't know. Is it rude to out someone if you're about to die for it?
Yeah, I, it's possible. It's possible. Anyway, yeah, I feel like, to be honest, Nikki should have died.
Yeah, I think it was a kind of plot armor keeping him alive.
Yeah, it's because it's his show.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
fair enough, fair enough.
fair enough. Um, okay, my theory is that Yusuf will let it slip that he and Morgan slept together, and then Max will call off the engagement,
And that'll fuck everything up.
and then Morgan will be like, "Mm-mm, nope, like nope, we're gonna get married. I'm sorry, buddy."
But I do feel like she has a cover because she already told Max that she cheated on him. And so, and he accepted it. So, like, she could have been like, yeah, remember that time I said I cheated on you? It was with him.
Do you think she'll do that though?
I think she would. I mean, I think she's definitely scared of her mother-in-law. So I think anything to keep the engagement on and make the marriage happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Another theory is that I feel like if Max and Morgan end their engagement and then like Nikki and Morgan have to step up and like do more mob boss things, I think Linda will catch on and then maybe something happens and then Linda becomes the mob boss. Yeah, I totally agree. That's why she had to pick the right horse. Annette.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Another what happens at the end. What do you think happens to Tarek? Like, does he go
Oh,
on this 6 month cruise?
oh, I don't know. I mean, okay, so was Nick telling him to go just to protect him? Because Tarek does know a lot more than Nick let on to
Yeah,
the. Okay.
I think so.
I hope Tarek goes on that cruise. I
But
hope
like,
he goes.
that is a big ass to just go out on a boat for 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months is long. Who goes on cruises that long?
How is there a cruise for that long?
I don't know. I've heard that sometimes there are cruise ships that have to go from like one coast to another, or from let's say Japan to California because the next cruise they're taking is in California, and you can get a ticket to like be on that journey. Yeah,
And it
and it's a
takes
lot cheaper.
6 months?
Well, no, I don't think that takes 6 months, but I think you could, like, rack up days if you, like, time it right of, like, all these cruise ships traveling. Yeah, I don't know.
You're just going back and forth from Japan to California. What an existence.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Oh
know.
my god. I could not be on a boat for 6 months. I already know that.
I think, yeah. I think most of us would get so bored.
Yeah. I did a cruise for, I think, a week max, and I was like, "Get me off this GD boat." By the end of the week, I was so
Interesting,
tired.
okay. Were you bored of the food options, or, like, did you feel trapped, or was it the people you were with? Like, what do you think made it so
I
claustrophobic?
think it was everything. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was, like, this library doesn't have that much stuff, there's only so much food that you can eat. I didn't wanna get, like, dressed up to go to dinner, which, like, the people that I was with, they wanted to do that, and I was like, "Please."
That's so funny. I have been on my family loves cruises, so I think we've been on 4 cruises as a family, and then I went on
Mhm.
1 cruise with friends. And I feel like every time I get on a cruise, I become more and more disillusioned by the cruise. Like the first time I was like, this is amazing. It's like a 5-star resort. There's so much to do. I'll never get bored here. And then by the 5th one, I was like, okay, like, yep,
It's
there's
time.
there's that ice sculpture again. Like, okay. It's the same 5 restaurants we can eat at. Which one do we want to
Yeah.
eat at tonight?
Yeah. I think also the last time that I went on a cruise was January 2020. Yeah, and then, like, all this, like, COVID stuff, came out, and I was like, "Oh, this cruise ship," like, it started on this cruise ship or whatever, like, that's how it got to California, and then I was like, "Cruises, man." And then all those articles were coming out about how cruise ships were, like, super unhygienic and everything too, and then I was like,
Mm,
"I'm never going on a cruise again. I
yeah.
can't do this."
We're not cruise people.
We're not cruise people. We are not boat people. Also, there's not that much internet on the cruise either, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think now you can pay for Wi-Fi, and it's pretty good, but I think most of the trips I went on, we did not pay for Wi-Fi, and so you're just completely off the grid until you port.
I couldn't handle it. I could not handle it. Talk about big mistake, am I right?
Tarek, good luck, buddy.
Good luck, buddy. Jeez.
I want to talk about Morgan and Max's relationship. What are your thoughts on that? Should they be together? Are you on Max's side in the global conflict of their relationship, or are you on Morgan's side, or like how do you feel about them?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I feel like I personally am a very different person to Morgan. Just entirely. I think we are on
Yeah.
opposite sides of the spectrum. So, trying to put myself in her shoes is like square peg, round hole
Yeah.
kind of thing. In spite of that, I will persist. Let me try. Um, I do feel like Morgan really loves Max,
Hmm.
but because they've been together for, she said 17 years.
Yeah.
Insane. Um, but I think she loves Max because he loves a part of her that she feels very insecure about.
Mm,
So I
mm,
think from that lens, I think she still feels it still feels a little bit selfish. Like she loves Max because Max loves her.
mm. Yeah, she just like loves being loved.
Yeah. And then I think their like point about couples therapy where he was like she was like, "Oh, I need someone to challenge me," or something like that. I can definitely see that, but I also think that's part of the reason why she loves Max and is with him is because he doesn't challenge her, and then, he just like loves her
Mm,
unconditionally, almost puts her on a pedestal.
yeah. I I mean, I think that's why she stays with him, but
Yeah.
I don't think she's in love with him. I think she has a lot of love for him, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think she's in love with him. Yeah.
Agreed, yeah, which is unfortunate.
I think he's in love with a version of her that is no longer there. Like, he's really trying to hold on to whatever relationship they had in their, I don't know, early 20s maybe even, but probably just in high school.
Yeah.
And like that Morgan is long gone.
That
That
Morgan
Morgan is
is
long
long
gone.
gone. I think I also feel for Max though, because obviously Morgan is going through a lot that she cannot share with Max. And to be honest, I feel like the crime stuff is really only a part of it. I feel
Mm,
like she has not been able to share stuff honestly with Max for a very long time. So the fact that now she's like going through this crime stuff is honestly offering her a little bit more of an outlet so that she can deal with Max, but she's still not
mm,
telling him about it and like still not being honest with him about how she feels. So I
right.
feel for Max in that sense. It's
Yeah,
like
me too.
he hasn't gotten the real version of Morgan in a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just accepts it and like puts up with her.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, have some self-respect.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a shame.
What a shame. What do you think of Nicky and Tarek's relationship?
But they seem sweet. I feel like we didn't really get too much insight into them.
Mm,
Um, so we know that Tarek is a contractor, but we don't really know anything else that he does. And then when Nikki was like, "Oh, your hands are so soft for someone who works with your hands all the time," I was like, "Is Tarek not who we think he is?"
oh,
And then there was like nothing, like no
maybe
follow
that'll be a
ups.
reveal in season 2.
Yeah, like maybe he represents another crime boss that's trying to make moves in the area.
Yeah. I also think their relationship is very sweet, and I think the big difference between them and Morgan and Max is that A, Nicky was instantly forthcoming about what happened in Miami.
Yeah.
Um, and he did the whole Miami thing for Tarek, which Morgan said herself, she's like, I never would have done this for Max. And so I think, yeah, just the two relationships contrasted against each other. One is like holding on to the past, and each person is very like narrow in their view of the relationship. Versus Nicky and Tarek are just like way healthier, just way better communicators.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, do you think Nikki told Tarek without understanding the consequences, or do you think he kind of knew that there might be consequences if he told Tarek what was going on?
That's a good question. I will admit I did not think about the consequences when he was telling Tarek, so I think
I
it's
didn't
possible he
either.
wasn't either. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then when the Italian people were like, "Oh, did you tell anyone? Did you tell Tarek about this?" He was like, "Mm-mm." I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize
Oh
that
no.
would be against the rules."
But you know what? Makes sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, they weren't like, "Did you tell your mom about this?"
And then I guess the third relationship is Natalie's relationship with her husband, Kevin.
Oh my god, Kevin.
Yeah, that girl is so deeply unhappy with her life.
Yeah, when she was like, "It physically hurts me to see him just there." I was like, "Oh my god." But okay, how old do you think the siblings are? Because it seems like Max and Morgan met in college and they've been dating for 17 years,
I think they
right?
met in high school.
Oh, did I say high school? Did I say college?
You said
Oops.
college.
Okay. Met high school. Okay, so they've been dating since high school and they've been dating for 17 years. So that would put them earliest
Early
34,
30s. Yeah.
like ish. And then Nikki seems to be slightly older than that.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I was thinking Morgan was probably like 32, 33, and Nikki was like 35. And then the
And then Natalie's 8
Natalie
years
is like
younger.
25. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she's a baby. She's a
And she's
child
already
bride.
married.
Yeah.
And she's already over it.
Yeah. Girl, get
Wow.
a divorce.
You're
Walk
too
away
young
before
for
there are
this.
kids.
You're too young for this, Natalie. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, when put in that perspective, Natalie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Poor
Just walk
Kevin.
away, girl.
Yeah, poor Kevin too.
uh,
Name a woman who has time for chess.
who's that girl in that show about chess?
Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, that
Name an actual woman, not a fictional one.
one. Yeah, great point. I cannot name one, but I also don't think I could name a male chess player.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I did look up a woman who has time for chess. Judith Polgar is a Hungarian chess grandmaster. And she's like, I think has the highest elo. She's like one of the top 10 chess players in the world.
Wow. All
So she
right.
got time
Good
for
for you,
chess.
girl. She got time for chess.
She could be the mayoral candidate of Glenview.
If the tiebreaker was chess, she would win.
She would win. Absolutely. And naming a man who has time for chess. Who's that guy's name? Magnus?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know his last
Sounds
name.
right. Okay. It's just Magnus.
It's, that one named guy, Magnus.
Magnus Carlsen, Norwegian
go.
chess grandmaster. Wow, great memory. I would not have been
Nice.
able to pull that name out of my long-term memory.
Oh, it's because there have been numerous scandals about Magnus Carlsen.
Ooh,
Should I tell you niche
me.
community drama?
Yes.
So Magnus Carlsen is generally, in my opinion, a sore loser. Okay, so there was this guy, Hans Niemann, who played against Magnus Carlsen in I think it was in 2022 or 2023. So there was like okay, I'm just going to read this article. After a 53-game winning streak, Carlsen was beaten by Niemann at the Sinkfield Cup in St. Louis. Niemann was the lowest ranked player at the competition and the first to beat Carlsen in 2 years. Okay, right? So then Magnus Carlsen is like, there is no way this guy actually would have won, but there's no way to prove that he was cheating. Like, what are some ways in which he could have been cheating, but it was like undetectable? It must have been the case that he was wearing anal beads in order to cheat.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, come again?
You heard me. So Magnus's theory is that Niemann had like anal beads that would like vibrate in order to like tell him what moves to make.
Not in like Morse code?
I don't know how, or like this is as far as I want to go personally, but like
Are they remote control?
I think so. I think that was the theory, is that somehow he is using anal bead vibrations to cheat in this chess game.
Are vibrating anal beads a common thing?
I think so.
Okay.
I think outside of chess, yeah, I think so.
Not a big part of the chess community.
It's not a big part of the. Well, it could be.
Well, behind closed doors, who knows?
Hey, don't knock it, man.
All right, you know what? We don't kink shame around here.
Yeah, so anyway, so that was like the whole like scandal. Like as this was unveiling, so my friend Nihal was telling me all about this. He loves the chess drama. But yeah, there was like a whole scandal because again, like Magnus Carlsen was like the like leader in chess, and he was beaten by this like person who is coming out of nowhere and has also previously cheated on chess.com and has been banned from the site.
Whoa. Okay. So he has a history of cheating.
Yeah, but he claims he's never cheated in real life, though.
Interesting. Okay, you know what? This reminds me of a complete noob beating an expert. It reminds me of the Caltech fencing team that just like, yeah, yes, you. Because what I've heard about that team, tell me if this is true. I think what Harrison told me was that traditional fencing teams all have techniques, and it's about how good you are at seeing those techniques coming and like being able to avoid them. The Caltech fencing team has no technique because everybody's a beginner. None of these people have been fencing since they were children, unlike the rest of the teams. And so they're just rogue playing extremely unpredictably and end up winning because the actual good players do not know what they're about to do. Is that accurate?
I was shocked because I am also like, I picked up. Okay, Yappers, if you guys don't know about Caltech, it is a very small school. There's like 200 people per class. The entire undergraduate student body is 800 and something people. Small AF. So when it comes to college sports, of which there are few at Caltech, I may add, the bar for doing a sport, like as a Division III athlete, is, do you have a warm body? Like, that is the bar.
Truly.
So the benefits of that, though, is that you can try out and be a college athlete in sports you have never, ever done in your life before.
You can be an NCAA athlete. You can be an NCAA water polo player without ever having swum before. Swimming, surprisingly, not a prerequisite for the water polo team.
Oh my God. I didn't know.
Yeah, there were some people that, like, could questionably swim. Were they water safe? I don't know.
Jeez, I didn't know that. And you could also be a NCAA athlete in fencing without ever having known that there are multiple weapons in fencing that you can fence in. Things that I learned as an NCAA fencing athlete.
Hell yeah.
Foil, by the way.
Oh, is the other one is epee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And is like a very common crossword clue. Epee.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Epee and then saber is the other one.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, but you did foil.
But I did foil. And I remember my first ever fencing tournament that I went to, where we traveled, by the way. This is crazy, isn't it? We flew to Caltech, put me on a plane to Northwestern, where I competed on behalf of Caltech as one of their like top 6
That's insane.
female fencers in foil.
You know what? Hell yeah.
I was a freshman, by the way. So I went to Northwestern and I fenced against like Stanford fencers. I fenced against Northwestern fencers. I fenced against, I don't know, like I think Duke was there. And I won a couple matches.
Wow.
Having never fenced before.
Okay, do you agree with Harrison's assessment of why Caltech fencers did so much better than expected?
I don't know. I never got that far into analyzing anything.
You're just like, hey, I'm here. I'm in the state of Illinois competing on behalf of my university.
Yeah, I was like, I'm cold. I have a fence, like I have a foil, and I'm gonna poke people with my foil. And like sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know why it works and why it doesn't, but I'm here.
Amazing. How did we get here?
Oh, niche chess grandmaster drama.
Oh, because what woman has time for chess?
Yeah. Okay, another fun fact is, did you notice that one of the Italians had Giggle Gang Party Palace on his lapel? Like, he had a pin. I kept
Nope.
seeing it, and I was like, This pin and that man's face do not match."
They call him Bubbles.
Yeah, it was
Interesting. Let
very
me
strange.
Google.
But then they didn't
Gi-
talk about it at all, so I was like, "Okay, maybe this is, like, one of his many businesses."
Giggle. What was it? Giggle Gang Party Palace?
Yeah.
Zero results on Google.
Okay, maybe it was just there as, like, a comic relief kinda thing,
Okay.
that this Italian was part of this Giggle Gang Party Palace, and that was, like, one
Maybe.
of their money laundering schemes. Great.
Yeah. Great. Nothing else to say about that.
Nothing else to say. I just wondered if you noticed or maybe I missed something.
No, I did not notice. I'm
But you did
sorry.
notice something else.
Yes. Okay. I think I noticed maybe episode 3 or 4 that the intro opening credits sequence, with the music and everything has a different set of symbols for each episode. Kind of like the 4 seasons, if you recall, Yappers. Um, and so I wrote them down, and I'm forgetting why some of these were the symbol for each episode, so maybe we can talk about them.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So what were the icons for all of the episodes?
Okay, so yes, you're right. The first episode was the praying hands with the necklace around the thumb. So each episode had 2 different symbols. One was like right after they show the name Big Mistakes, and then like they show something, and then they show the first icon, and then they show something else, and then they show the second icon at the very end. So first was
Oh.
the hands with the necklace, and then the gun. I think
Oh,
for the
okay.
gun that
Yeah.
was pointed at Morgan out of the truck by the Turkish man.
Yeah.
The second episode was Nicky's broken glasses and then a shovel digging in dirt.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember his glasses breaking. Did they?
Was it because when he was tried to run out of the truck, he like fell on his face?
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
That was the second episode, right?
I think so. Or maybe the third one. I don't remember. Um, the third episode is an envelope full of cash and a flip phone. So they received these sketchy flip phones.
Mhm.
Um, the fourth episode is the wine glass to signify the conversation between Andre and Linda, as well
Mhm.
as the religious painting. You know, that female religious figure with the wings that was in a painting above Nicky's bed?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
Who
yeah.
was that, by the way? Was that some like angel or
I don't know. Yappers, please educate us. We have no clue.
Yep.
Um, the fifth episode was a rose, I think to signify the roses that Andre sent to Linda, as well as like a cattle head, like a bull.
Oh,
Yeah, for the cattle auction.
I love that episode. That
Me
was very
too.
educational for me.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite episode. The sixth episode had cupcakes, I think for the cupcakes that Morgan made for the baby shower, and
Mhm.
handcuffs, but I don't remember what the handcuffs were for.
I can't remember either.
Okay. Seventh episode was a palm tree and cocaine with it was like the cocaine straw and a razor blade, I think, to like make the lines.
Oh, nice.
For the Miami episode. And then episode 8 was the same as episode 1. It was the necklace in the praying hands and the gun.
Oh, it all comes back together.
Everything comes full circle.
Okay, so the only one that we don't really have a reasonable explanation for is the handcuffs.
Yeah.
What happened in that episode?
Let me think. So they go to the baby shower. She goes for a run. Um, I think that's when Nicky goes with Tarek to New York for the gala. I think this is the episode right after he and Morgan finally escape from this mob, but then end up going back to them at the end of the episode. So like I think they're just finally like living their lives.
Oh. Huh. I
Yeah.
wonder.
Yeah. I don't know. Yappers, if you know why they showed handcuffs in the intro sequence, let us know.
Yay.
Yay.
Great. So
Yay.
4 seasons coded.
Yes.
Should we do ratings?
Yeah. I would say, I would give actually, okay, I know I said there's a 5 in there. I think I'll do 4 and 4 for quality and enjoyment because I thought the quality was pretty good. I do agree with you that the first few episodes moved a little slowly and just like didn't need to be drawn out like that, and it got way better once the necklace thing was handled. So, I'll give it a 4 for quality and a 4 for enjoyment because actually maybe it deserves a 5 for enjoyment. I did really enjoy it. I'll give it a
Yeah, if
5.
you
I'll give it
enjoyed
a 5.
it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
I would give it a 4 for quality and a 3 for enjoyment.
Fair.
Sorry, yappers. Come for me in the comments.
Hey, you're allowed to have your opinion.
That's true.
This
That's
is not your
true.
type of show. You gave it a high quality, so,
Yeah, that's true. I feel good about my rating. I think it is honest to how I felt about it. I think I was telling you that I got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, there's a lot that people liked about it for sure. I think just for
Oh,
me personally, it was a lot to handle for the
a
first
little
couple
chaotic.
episodes. Yeah, like I was telling Shalini that if we didn't have to do this show for BYR, let me rephrase that. If we didn't choose to do this show for BYR, I would probably not finish it based on the
Yeah.
first 3 episodes. But I will
Mhm.
say it did pick up. Who would you recommend this show to?
I would recommend this show to people that love Dan Levy and love Schitt's Creek and kind of miss the chaotic sibling energy from that show. Um, and people who love a good crime comedy. Yeah.
Okay. I would recommend this show to people who thrive on chaotic energy, identify with being chaotic and neutral, and people who love a good twist.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, should we since we already did this week in entertainment for Love on the Spectrum, we should do Binge in Progress?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
Um I feel like there was not a lot to do in progress this week because we did 2 shows, 2 episodes this week, which was a lot. But I did watch Project Hail Mary recently. I don't know if I talked about that last week.
I don't think so.
Oh, great. Yeah, I watched Project Hail Mary. I really liked it. I feel like if you read the book and then if you read the book, you will definitely like the movie, but I do think the movie does like gloss over a lot of the stuff that does get explained in the book. So if you've only watched the movie and really liked it, but then felt like some things were left unexplained, I would recommend to read the book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I also finished Red Rising and I've started reading Golden Sun.
Nice. I actually needed a long break between Red Rising and Golden Sun. I think I'll go back to Golden Sun after this book that I'm about to finish.
Oh, so you're still in progress of Golden Sun.
Yeah, by that I think I'm on like chapter 4.
Oh, okay. So I have probably surpassed you then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I also finished reading Atmosphere.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah. It was really cute.
Oh, love a good Taylor Jenkins read. Okay, I can go next for binge in progress. So, I am watching a few shows that only come out with one episode per week, which is why I can watch so many of them at once. So, I'm watching Shrinking, which the finale just aired this week. Watching The Pit, Survivor season 50, and Your Friends and Neighbors, which season 2 just premiered, I think, last week. Yeah.
The John Hamm one, right?
Yes. I'm obsessed with that show. Which I'm sure yappers could have predicted. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it like once or twice in a previous Binge in
Mm,
Progress.
okay, yeah. It's so good.
I have nothing to add to any of those shows because I am not watching any of those shows.
Wow, really? None of them? Oh, I think you would like Shrinking a lot. I'm sure I've told you this before.
Yeah. I think I would like Shrinking. I just haven't had time to
Mm,
watch anything else other than our assigned homework.
yeah, fair.
I have been doing a puzzle, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I think other than that, it's work. Work, work,
Mm,
work.
work, 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 work. All right, let's stop. Let's go.
Okay.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Bye, yappers. Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging.